In this lecture, we'll take the first steps needed towards properly spawning our chunk level generation. Before we just jump right in and start coding things, I think it's important to have a brief conversation about how we're going to set this project up. It's important to understand how we're actually going to move our player. Well, we're not actually really going to move our player. Yeah, he's going to have a little bit of control from left to right, and even just a little bit on the Z-axis moving up and down, but we're not really moving the player or progressing the player throughout the level. The level is progressing around the player. You can actually see at the very bottom right, once a chunk passes the player and gets out of view, we're going to basically destroy that chunk and then spawn a new chunk at the very beginning of the map. This is extremely common for a lot of games and especially endless runners. It can often be easier to set a whole project up like this, especially when we're using so many physics-based objects just flying around our scene and using some custom gravity tricks. Let's hop back into Unity and start setting this up. With that greater understanding of how we're going to set this project up, let's actually go ahead and create our first chunk prefab. Let's create an empty game object that we'll just call chunk prefab. Let's make sure our transform is reset to 0, 0, 0, basically just being at the very base of our player. If you ever think these scene gizmos are a little bit distracting, things like this camera icon or this volume icon directly in your scene view, you can actually just toggle them off visibly in your hierarchy by unselecting this eye here. I'm going to do that for my global volume and my directional light that was actually just hovering just barely above my king. I'll go ahead and hide both of those for now. Inside of our empty chunk prefab model, let's create another empty game object that we'll just call model. And inside of this model, let's finally create a 3D object and let's create a cube just to get a basic platform set up at the moment. Let's make this cube 10 long on the x-axis. We can keep the y at 1 for the height and a z value of 10. So basically this 10 by 10 looking chunk. I know I'd like to spawn this chunk prefab at 0, 0, 0, basically the feet of where we know our king is going to be at the beginning of the game. Which, hey, that's right where it is, but I actually want the king to kind of have the visual effect that it's running on this ground. I want to only grab the cube inside and kind of just align it over here on our game view to kind of just make it look like he's standing on this cube. This way, our chunk prefab can still be instantiated in at the position of 0, 0, 0 in our script. I also think a nice scale value of 10 by 10 on the width and the length is going to also help us a lot when it comes to some of our basic math arithmetic, keeping these numbers nice and clean, and 10 is a nice easy number to work with and wrap our head around. With that chunk prefab game object created, let's create a folder in our assets directory called prefabs. And we'll go ahead and drag this first chunk prefab into our prefab folder. With that created, we can go ahead and delete our chunk prefab from our hierarchy. Let's go instantiate that through code. So assets, we don't have a scripts folder yet. Let's go ahead and create that. I'll just call it scripts. Inside of my scripts folder, I'll right click, create our first mono behavior script. And let's just call this level generator. If you ever want to check the spelling of my classes and it's cut off with the ellipses here, you can double check the spelling over here. Public class level generator. Let's go ahead and open that up in VS Code. With our first script created, let's just start with something incredibly basic and get that first prefab instantiating at our king's feet. So let's serialize a field to make sure we can actually drop in that chunk prefab. So game object, we'll just call it chunk prefab, and we'll make sure we can assign that in the inspector when we get back to Unity. For now, let's just create a start method, and in start, let's instantiate that chunk prefab. So instantiate chunk prefab. Where do we want to instantiate it? Let's instantiate it at the transform.position of the game object on which our level generator is attached to. And then let's make sure that we actually have that also properly positioned at 0, 0, 0. So transform.position, and then let's just spawn that in at quaternion.identity just to come in with no rotation. Let's head back into Unity and make sure that's rigged up correctly. Let's create an empty game object that we can attach our mono behavior level generator class to. So let's just call it level generator, and let's reset that position to 0, 0, 0 and slap on that class as a component. Let's head into our assets folder, prefabs, and then with our level generator selected, just drag this chunk prefab into that field. And moment of truth, let's go ahead and hit play and just make sure that's properly being instantiated at our king's feet. All right, there you go. Let's also just properly situate our camera a little bit so we have a little bit more view of what we're about to expect. we're going to want to instantiate a few more chunks. So I'm just going to kind of zoom out a little bit. And you know what? I'm actually going to change this aspect ratio from 1920 by 1080 just to 16 by 9 so we have a little bit more of a true look on what the game is actually going to look like when our game is fully blown up in our game view. Again, you might not actually have to tinker around with this too much depending on the resolution of your screen as well as the size of your monitor. But for now, I think with our game view blown up, yeah, I think this looks about right for now for testing. Our next goal is to basically instantiate in, let's say a dozen or so different chunks in front of our king. So one here, one here, one here, and so on. To accomplish that, I think this is a great use case to introduce a for loop. We've had the chance to talk about things like a for each loop, but we haven't really had a good use case to use a for loop yet. A for loop in C# gives us the opportunity to repeat a block of code a certain amount of times. It can be really useful when we know in advance how many times we want to execute this code block. There's 4 basic steps when it comes to a for loop. We have this basic initialization before this first semicolon where we can actually define I. We then have a condition, basically how many times we want to iterate over this code block before we exit. After we run the code block, we have an increment. The most common and the most basic increment you'll see is just adding 1 to I, or I++ for shorthand. So for example, if our amount in this case was something like 10, it would run this for block 10 times. Once I was equal to 10, it would run this code block one more time, the condition would be met, and then it would exit this for loop. Let's go hop back into VS Code and try that out for ourselves and get our chunk instantiating a dozen or so times. With our level generator script open, in VS Code, you can just write out for, and the second one down, hitting the arrow key down once, will auto-complete this basic for loop structure. For, and then with the second one down selected, you can just press tab. At the very top, let's have a serialized field for how many starting chunks we want to instantiate. So serialized field, let's create an int, and we'll just call this starting chunks amount. For now, let's just create 1 dozen or 12, in other words. And let's just replace length with our starting chunks amount. At the very end of my instantiate line, I'm just going to hold Alt, hit the up arrow key a couple times, and then just format it correctly. Nice, let's go try that out back in Unity and see what it looks like. Let's hit play and see what happens. Great, we actually still in our game view, it looks like we just have this 1 chunk prefab. However, if you actually take a look over at our hierarchy, we have 12 chunk prefabs. However, right off the bat, this is already starting to look a little bit messy. So let's actually just parent them to a single chunk game object that we can actually just child all of those chunk prefabs to. So in our hierarchy, let's create another empty game object that let's just call chunk parent. Let's head back into our script and set it up so that way each individual time our chunk prefab instantiates, it's just going to be childed to this chunk parent. Let's create another serialized field. We'll grab a transform, and we can just call this the same thing, so chunk parent, and we'll make sure we assign that once we get back to Unity. You can actually just use this chunk parent and slap it at the very end of our instantiate method. It has an optional overload, so that way once it is instantiated, it will automatically be childed to the transform chunk parent. The next step is going to be separating them all equally, one at a time, just so they're exactly lined up perfectly in front of our king, one at a time. Well, we can actually do that using our for loop. We know that each individual chunk prefab is 10 by 10, so let's actually use that length as a defined field up top. We can then basically use our for loop, and each individual time we iterate over our code block, we can actually just use I times it by length, and then just basically add that to the Z position to get each individual one spawning in front of our player. So let's create a float called chunk length, and we'll just define that at 10. Now, you probably don't need this as a serialized field. However, I'll just actually create it as a serialized field, just in case later on, for whatever reason, you actually need to change the length of each individual chunk prefab. And you know what? There's actually a few different ways to go about doing this next step. So I think that introduces us to this lecture's challenge. Instantiate all of our starting chunks as defined by our starting chunks amount, which is currently set to 12, inside of our for loop. Equally space them out so they're all laid out in front of the player. In other words, it'll kind of look like this. You'll have each individual prefab equally spaced out one in front of the other. However, instead of going from left to right, just pretend your player is over here and the camera is over here looking this direction. Get them all spawning in front of the player, incrementing on the Z axis moving forward. Give it an honest effort, but don't feel bad if you actually can't accomplish it. There's a couple different ways to go about achieving this sort of goal. Pause the video, come back here in a few moments, and we'll go through my solution together. All right, welcome back. Inside of our for loop, I'm going to go ahead and define a new float that I'll just call spawn position z. I know that I'm going to need to define a new vector 3 for each individual chunk prefab's position, but I know I'm not going to need to modify my x and my y value. I'm just going to need to modify my z value. And I'll just kind of write a relatively simple if block. I'm just going to start out by saying if I is equal to 0, well, then I know my spawn position value is just going to be 0, 0, 0. In other words, our spawn position z value is just going to be 0. In other words, transform.position.z. Else, if I is anything but 0, well, then I'm going to need some sort of increment. And I can actually just use I. So spawn position z is going to be equal to transform.position.z plus some sort of increment. So in parentheses, I'm actually just going to take I times my chunk length. And that's pretty much all we need. We now just need to define a new vector 3 that we can pass through our instantiation method. So vector 3, we'll just call it chunk spawn pos, and I'll define a new vector 3. Well, like we were saying before, x and y doesn't need to change. So just transform.position.x, comma, transform.position.y value. In other words, just 0, 0. And then for our z value, we're going to use spawn position z. With this new vector 3 created, instead of just instantiating our chunk prefab at transform position, we can just replace where we want each individual chunk prefab instantiated. In other words, at chunk spawn pos. Everything else can remain the same. Let's head back into Unity and see if this works correctly. Let's hit play and give it a whirl. All right, there you go. We actually properly have each individual chunk prefab being instantiated one at a time in front of our player. You could actually even just click one at a time, just to kind of make sure they're all properly lined up, exactly 10 units apart. Now I am noticing, however, when we clicked play, they weren't properly being childed to our chunk parent. Well, I think that's just because we never actually assigned that property, but we didn't actually get a null reference error because it's an optional overload. So with that properly assigned, bada bing, bada boom, we've got each individual chunk prefab properly being childed to our chunk parent. And I think the next step is to get these chunks moving properly. We'll handle that in the next lecture. When you're ready to move on, I'll see you there.